All right, week 2. So last week we covered all of our NFC teams. We'll kind of recap what those playoffs look like as we get closer to the end of this one with our AFCs. But we're jumping right in. We're going straight to the top team from the AFC last year into the West. Michael, I was pretty close with some of those numbers, so I'm gonna go with what I got here. I'm gonna say, is it 11.5?
You are on the money. It is 11.5 for the Chiefs. Another thing I think we should add that we didn't touch on with the NFC is, especially with these top teams, is go through the likely division winners and what the odds for that is. Because I think that's also very instructive. So not only are the Chiefs 11.5 for their over under at our local Florida sportsbook, but the Chiefs are also a minus 1,500 to win their division. Everyone else is plus 300 or higher.
I don't know how I feel about that. And spoiler, because we'll do the Chargers next coming up. I was reading through the Bleacher Report article. The Bleacher Report has the Chargers to win the division.
So, no free ads with Bleacher Report, but I think there's a problem with a lot of big, publications, networks, whatever, what have you. But it's not good in, the specific localization of a specific team. So, that article was probably published well before the Chargers, and we talk about more, lost their left tackle. We'll talk about the Chargers a lot more when we get to them. But yeah, I wouldn't, unless you know that the specific writer is a local or specific person to that team. I don't like those lists or predictions that are overarching. I don't think there's so much value there for maybe for a individual who's just trying to catch up on what has happened, who hasn't paid attention. I don't think those people are listening to our podcast. I think our podcast is a lot more, you kind of have to care a little bit more. Especially talking over unders. If you don't know what betting is, over unders is kind of like, foreign to you. Hopefully we've done a good job of explaining it, but Chiefs, yes. 11.5. They're the favorite for the division.
I think the only rebuttal I have, again, right? They go 15-2 last year, great season, get to the Super Bowl. Yes, trounced, but still a good season. Is looking at their schedule. 3 of their last 4 games are all divisional. So host the Chargers, host the Broncos, away at the Raiders. So if there is some sort of stumble or an injury or something as you get into those cold weather months, and it affects them there, like if it really is, maybe they're up on the Broncos or Chargers by a game and a half. I guess not game and a half, 2 games. As you get into the last couple weeks, that could make a difference.
Typically, I agree with you. I think for whatever reason, it's the West that their division is, but you have a Las Vegas team, an LA team. You have the Broncos, which it does get cold. Don't get me wrong. But it's not like the Chiefs in Kansas City don't have to play in freezing temperatures too. So
it's true.
Some divisions this really matters. I don't think this one is, especially for a Chiefs team that has shown you year over year, no matter who the receivers are, no matter who the offensive line is. Quite frankly, no matter who's on defense, other than their defensive line, the Chiefs just get it done.
I mean, it's hard to argue that.
Yeah, I agree. I think I don't think they do the 15-2 that we saw last year. I think there was, especially in the media and social media, there was a lot of like, oh, the refs, you're playing against the Chiefs and the refs. I don't think we see as much of that this year, or even the implications of it. I think this 12-5 is reasonable. I am going to say over. I don't think they go from a 15-2 team to a 10, whatever that would be. Um, so, well, yeah, 10-7. I don't think they do that. I will say that game in December versus the Chargers is going to have playoff implications. Like that could be who wins the division is that game right there. Yep. So they play the Chargers game 1. We'll get to see a little taste, but that's game 1 coming out of the preseason. I think that second game they play against them, what is it, the 14th? Let's see. The 14th.
Yeah.
That's going to be playoff
Kansas City.
implications for that. Yeah, that's going to be playoff implications. So, but I think over for the Chiefs this year.
The only two details I have, I don't remember if it was I thought it was last year, maybe it was 2 years ago, when the Chiefs opened up their season against Detroit. And Detroit came out and beat them. That was 2 years ago. And there was panic. Everyone's like, "Oh, what's going to happen? Oh my gosh, where's these Chiefs?" And you go into last year, and it's, "Oh man, they have to rely on Patrick Mahomes, and what are they going to do when Rashee Rice goes down hurt?" And they still finished 15-2. And yes, again, Super Bowl is a different story, fine, but you're still getting there. You're still having to go through a Burrow or a Josh Allen or a Lamar Jackson to be able to get to that game. Here's the only thing I'll leave you with. Since 2018 season, the Chiefs have only had less than 12 wins once. I'm going over.
And Nick, you got to remember, at that time, they didn't have the 17th game. It was still a 16-game schedule. So you have actually more opportunity to win games. I'm going over as well. Rashee Rice, legal issues and knee injury aside, is their number one. They had a basically entirely new offensive line last year and made it to the Super Bowl with a bunch of young players who are likely only going to get better as the season progresses. And the Chiefs really are the maybe lone exception in the entire league that literally treats the regular season as if it is preparing you for the playoffs.
Agreed.
Yeah, what you see in week 1 is going to have zero correlation to what you see in week 18.
And I mean, if you want to talk script writing too from last year, I know Taylor Swift was on the Kelsey Brothers podcast and announced a new album. He's going to win a title this year and then retire. That's how that's going to go.
We can talk about Super Bowl winners later. I have a excellent observation from a movie I recently watched that may affect the NFL this year. So we'll get to it though. I think it's over. The Chiefs. When was the last time they lost this division? Even to that aspect, and just for people who are not familiar with the betting numbers, a likelihood of a division winner, a favorite, is a minus. Okay, technically, a favorite is just whoever has the best odds in a sports book, but the Chiefs are a minus favorite. Everyone else is plus 300 or lower to win this division. And it's not like this is a bad division. You had 3 playoff teams from this division last year.
I think there's a chance they get 3 more this year.
And on top of that, because it's a competitive division, the Chiefs aren't going to take 2 weeks off at the end of the year. They're going to have to keep playing for most of the season trying to win these games. So I think 11.5 is a safe bet.
All right. On to their main competition. I only have 2 real issues with the Chargers. One is I still have not forgiven them for the lead that they surrendered to the Jags 2 or 3 playoffs ago. Until they prove to me otherwise, like that is this team, that is the personality that's there. So I'm struggling to think, can this team turn around and be elite? I like Herbert, but I don't know.
Nick, you want to take a guess on What the over-under is here?
If it's 12.5, I'm worried.
So, the Chargers have an over-under of 9.5.
I think that's completely doable for this team. Let's see here. I got 11-6. They clinched playoffs. So there's no reason they can't repeat that.
So
13-4 might be a little bit of a stretch, but
one big consideration for the Chargers moving forward, and this happened earlier this week. They lost their left tackle, Sharad Slater, who they just paid big money on an offensive line that did struggle a bit last year. It could be very concerning. They have 2 new running backs, an entirely new running back room, a very good rookie receiver last year in Ladd McConkey, who's more of a slot. They still don't have a outside wide receiver. There are some issues here. And then, there's a question of, do you think Justin Herbert is a top 10 quarterback? We can talk about it if you guys would like.
If he is top 10, he probably slots in at 9 to 10.
yeah, right there. Like
9.5, right? I mean, I don't think there's 10 better quarterbacks, but he's probably right at the end of that list.
So I make a list of
course you do.
Quarterbacks I would rather have. Who would you rather have list? Okay. This takes into account everything.
Been a part of one of these before, I feel like.
Everything from how old you are, what contract you have, what kind of quarterback are you, how big you are. And I'm not going to lie to you. I have Justin Herbert as the 19th best quarterback. If he's so good, why does he always wilt in big games, in big situations? Just to give you some perspective, I have guys like Brock Purdy, Geno Smith, Kyler Murray, all ahead.
I don't know about that one.
And this does not account for the rookies that came in. I haven't made my new preseason list.
The Cam Wards, the
Jackson Darts,
So
I don't know. That's tough though.
Justin Herbert's he looks like he should be a much better quarterback than what he has actually shown so far. And they got rid of all of his weapons last year. So he has some excuses. His offensive line wasn't great. His running back room was all injured. He still won 11 games last year, or the Chargers did. So if you think he is going to actually ascend into the top 10, they should clear 9.5 easily. But if you're like me, who thinks Justin Herbert is just a guy, but is 6'6" and has a big arm, but doesn't actually win games, I'm taking the Chargers under.
Oof. That hurts me to say that. Because, not that I disagree with you, but I do. This is one of the teams that I have that I want to go by schedule here. So 2 against the Chiefs, 2 against the Raiders, 2 against the Broncos. So I'm not going to go into those, but let's assume you probably pick up, let's say 3 out of 6, maybe 4 out of 6 of those games. Let's say 3 to be conservative here. At the Giants, win. At Commanders at home, probably a loss. So you're at 4-4. At the Dolphins, win. Host the Colts, win. 6-4. Host the Vikings. That's a tough one. That's a Thursday night.
I think that is a hell matchup for Justin Herbert because you have a defensive coordinator in Brian Flores that is quite frankly, an insane person when it comes to blitzing.
Sure.
Blitz the most percentage out of anyone in the league. That's a stellar defense. If the Vikings, we talked about a lot about them in the last pod, if they actually have some semblance of an offense, which they have Justin Jefferson, they really should. I think that's a clear Vikings going to be favored in that game.
Okay. So let's say 6-5. Chargers at Titans, let's win 7-5. The Steelers. Right about
We don't
midway
know what these
point.
Steelers are going to look like. Yeah, we don't know what these guys are going to look like this year.
You're at home. Looks like Sunday. That's Sunday Night Football.
Nick, you're forgetting that the Chargers actually have negative fans, and that will be a Steelers home crowd. I'm not even kidding.
No, that's fair.
The Chargers have the worst within their geographic location, the worst percentage of opposing fans.
I think I'm going to put win, though. Like, if we're going to give the loss against the Vikings, I think I would give the coin flip to the win against the Steelers. So that puts us, what I say, 7-4. Jaguars away. To me, that's going to dictate the entire season because they have a bye the week after. If they want to shake off those, like I said, those bad vibes from a couple years prior, that's the game to do it in Jacksonville. I think if they go in and they legitimately take care of business, that puts them potentially 8 wins before you even hit Thanksgiving. I think they'll be fine. You lose that game, these are the games right after that. You're home for the Raiders, home for the Eagles, away at the Chiefs, away at the Cowboys, and then Texans, Broncos. That I could see it easily flipping, and you lose 4 or 5. I agree.
And don't forget that Justin Herbert hasn't been able to finish seasons lately, or he has been getting injured. Freak injuries, nothing like injury-prone quarterback. It's just he gets beat up because he holds the ball. He tries to run when he probably shouldn't. I think in this competitive a division, and remember, it's 9.5, which means if you win 9 games, you're still an under.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying this is a lock by any means, but I have another team in this division that's a very clear arrow pointing up team.
That's fair, but I'm gonna still go 10. I think 10-7 is still a fine season for them, so I'm gonna head over on that
one. I think I'm gonna join Weitzner on this one and go under. Okay. These last 5 games they have are all gonna be playoff hungry teams. All teams that made the playoffs last year except the Cowboys. And as much as I dislike the Cowboys on the last session, I think if they are in a spot where they're looking to win, they're going to be hungry, regardless of what Dak's doing. So there's a chance they can lose their last 5 games of the season. So I'm going to go under.
Fair. The last thing I'll leave you with, again, you guys make your choices, but trust Harbaugh to at least not go on a 5-game losing streak. So if it does get to that point, I would give him the edge over some of the other coaches we have in the league. All right.
Speaking of a hell of a good coach.
I was going to say, floor is yours here. I'm going to leave you with this one.
So, Broncos made a huge leap last year after they bring in Sean Payton, and he has his full season of his quarterback, his team, getting some guys in. They had a rookie quarterback last year, Bo Nix. I personally don't think Bo Nix is any sort of special talent. But you know what is a special talent? Their offensive line. The Broncos probably have 1 through 5 the best starting offensive line in football. They're over under. Nick, you want to take a guess?
I think we'll go 9.5, same as the Chargers here.
9.5. Nail on the head. They have the same division odds to win at plus 300 as the Chargers. They have the same over under. when it comes to this really shows you that there is no big advantage in one or the other. It's really what you like, what you don't like. Can you sell me on it? That's what I look at when I look at these odds. Personally, I think this team is set up much better to have success in the regular season. Remember, that's what we're talking about here. In the regular season, I think they have set up to have a lot of success. They're also going to have a third place schedule, which is important. You play worse teams than what the Chargers do. Because of that, I think this is an over. I think it's a way over. In fact, I already bet it. It's locked in for me.
Michael, lock. Yeah, I mean, I know you mentioned the schedule. Well, it's not as cake as I thought it would be. A couple easy ones, right? Titans, Colts, sure. Non-divisional games. Bengals at home, Eagles away is tough. Back to back. Broncos, Jets. That's a London game, I think. Which I'm not going to back my team here, but the London games are always wacky. So if anything's crazy is going to happen, that would be the game to Jets win by like 34-0 because of some silliness. But come back, they'll smash the Giants back in Denver. Then you got Cowboys, Texans, Raiders. You assume they probably take all three. Then you get into the real stretch here. Chiefs, Commanders, Raiders, Packers, Jags, Chiefs, Chargers to finish.
So the for me, that end, those could be 2 straight wins. Those could be 2 straight losses to end the season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fair.
The Chiefs may not need that game. The Chargers may be injured quarterback eliminated already, or they might be playing for the last playoff spot. You know, that if I had a guess what's going to be the final Sunday night game, I would probably guess that Chargers Broncos game.
Yeah, that's fair. Now, to kind of help with this, because I hear all your points. Do you give? I know they're both at 9.5. Who do you think's finishing second in the division?
I think the Broncos finished second in the division.
I think I'm with you. So I think I'm good on that over. This is a good division. Terrell?
Your thoughts?
I have
Crunch
the Broncos
numbers?
doing yeah, I'm looking at it here. I have the Chargers going under. I think that's a tough stretch. We're looking at the Chargers here. They're gonna have to play, like I said, their game versus the Chiefs in December is gonna have playoff implications, and then they're gonna have to turn around and play the number 2, the number 3 in their division the week after that, or 2 weeks after that, I believe. I got the Broncos going over. I trust this team. Sean Payton in his second year going in here. He's going to have a system in place, and I think that's when you start to see the gears turn and they're oiled up, like that process starts to work for you. So I think they edge out the Chargers in this division, and I got the over. I got him coming second in this division this year.
Love it. On to the last team. AFC West. Clearly, this is stuff that carried over after I copy and pasted the Broncos. So we're going to ignore some of those talking points.
Let's talk about their changes. So Geno Smith comes in. He's the starting quarterback now. Pete Carroll is now the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders, which is insane to say. You have a lot of turnover on defense. You have a lot of turnover on offense. That's kind of what happens. They also take a running back high in the first round, Ashton Genty, he was electric in college, but you know, if you're taking a running back that high, he better be good right away. So, Nick, you want to take your guess for the over under?
I'm gonna stick with what's on there. I'm gonna say 6.5 here.
6.5. Nailed
Yeah.
it.
I think for me here, you have to have a lot of faith. To your point, you have to have a lot of faith in quarterback, running back, and coach all coming in. And if there's a game plan or there's opportunity for them to gel, maybe they do pick up some wins. However, looking at the win totals that are already in this division, they might just be fodder. Like they might just be the team that everybody beats up on. They may finish 1-5 in the division, and kind of going with that, I got to go under. Even if 7-10 isn't over for them, I think there's going to be some painful bruises along the way for them.
Taking a look at their schedule here, I think there's a chance they get the over.
Okay.
I'm looking at Patriots week 1.
That'll tell
Then maybe you're playing the Bears at home. So maybe Colts, Titans, Jaguars. I'm kind of doing a toss-up here between the Jaguars and the Cowboys. So I think they win one of those games. They got the Broncos in between, who I think beat up on them. I think they beat the Browns. And then they got to play Chargers, Broncos, Eagles. I think those are all 3 L's.
Yes.
Texans, Giants, they win one of those. Maybe both. And then Chiefs, which is an L. So I think they get, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Were they 6.5? And then Patriots 7. So
You're right on that line, pal.
if I were to bet right now, I'd take the over.
Okay.
I would lose that bet week 1 and then place another bet that's the under week 2.
It's a true vet move right there.
Is what it is.
Michael?
I have under, slightly under. I think 6 is like the magic number here, where they may get 1 or 2 division wins. They play a last place schedule, so they're going to play all the worst teams. They still play the AFC South, who has a bunch of, let's call them rebuilding teams.
That is true. Potentially the worst division of football. Yeah, you can say it. That's fair.
We're trying to be generous here. We don't say worst, we say rebuilding.
Because I'm almost certain that they're next to the presentation.
So we'll talk more detail. I think 6, 7. You want to see if Pete Carroll still can give that new coach bounce. I'm very skeptical. Geno Smith is a very good quarterback and probably unequivocally is the biggest leap year over year for quarterback. He's a top 16, 17 quarterback in the league. And before that, you had probably the worst or second worst combo of quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah.
So if the Raiders played in the South, I would have them probably at 8 or 9 wins. But because they play in the West with 3 returning playoff teams, all good quarterbacks, and even with Geno Smith, they probably have the worst or second to the bottom best quarterback in their division. So I'm under slightly. I'm not going to bet this one, but for the pod, I'm picking under.
Absolutely. All right. Well, as prom. Oh, I'm so sorry. We went AFC. I think they're the ones after this.
Nick, you want to talk about your Jets as soon as possible. I understand.
Look, man, I'm itching to get that 4-13.
Nice and quick, like a Band-Aid.
Yeah. But let's go ahead and let's go with the the clear favorites. I know you talked about the odds for divisional favorites. It's not even going to be close. If you're looking for a clear winner, it's the Bills, and I don't think that any other team in the division has done enough to even consider taking that spot from them. Josh Allen's the real deal. Their defense is the real deal. And I like the coaching that they have. A lot of great skill position players. They just got the James Cook deal done, so he's no longer holding out. There's a lot of things going in their direction. I think the Bills are no longer I would almost say to the degree that the Chiefs were at or have been at. The Bills have the longest division winning streak right behind the Chiefs. I think they're close to 5 or 6 years now. And the Bills are no longer thinking regular season. They're at that point that now they're just looking at how can we beat Mahomes? How can we beat Burrow? How can we beat Jackson when we come up with them in the playoffs? So, do I think that they could have a 15-2 season? Probably not. I think it's more likely that they'll probably win. I would say between 12 and 14 games. I mean, I'm assuming it's probably 11 and a half, 12 and a half here.
The Bills over under is 11 and a half.
Yeah. That's an over for me.
It's an over for me too.
Yeah, we can go through this quickly. It's an over for me as well.
I have go ahead, Weitzner.
I think it's not something you should bet because it's literally the juice isn't worth the squeeze, but it just shows you how favored they are to win this division.
Mm-hmm.
The Buffalo Bills are a minus 300 to win the AFC East. The next closest is
plus 10,000.
Plus 525. Okay.
Yeah, no, I mean it's a lock. I'm taking it over for this one. I do think they pick easily. They go 5-1 in the division. Pretty easy to pick up some wins, even with a first place schedule. I think it'll be easy for them to pick up wins along the way with who they've got. So,
yeah, I've got the over. I took a look at their schedule, and that's what I was going to say. I have 6 games marked that are question marks for me. All the rest are wins. And those 6 games are Ravens, Chiefs. Let me see if they're home or away. Hold on. Ravens is game 1 and it's home. Chiefs is also home and it's not until November. Then the next game I have is home versus the Bucks, and I'll be honest, that's just a little bit of faith in my Bucks team. Next one is home versus the Bengals, also a little bit of faith. I think they might take that one too. Next is home versus the Eagles. I'm sorry. Next is away versus the Steelers, which I have a question mark on just because we don't know what the Steelers are going to look like this year. They made a lot of changes. They've got some new players in some new spots. Are they going to be the Gridiron Gang? With, but we'll get to them later. I think even if they lose those 5 games minus the Steelers, you're looking at a 12-5 team. So I got the over. Yeah.
Sweet. Dolphins. ISO. We're going to clear you out, Michael. Go ahead.
Why? I have some news. I've officially dropped the Dolphins as my team. They've broken my heart too many times. I disagree with their philosophy, their decisions. So,
are you on the waiver?
I've actually already selected a new team, and it's going to be revealed later on this pod.
Okay.
So,
is it the Jets?
Yeah, because I hate myself. You want to take a guess on their over-under?
He rips his shirt off and he's got Jets tattooed right here. Yeah, he's a big Justin Fields guy. I don't know if I like the 7 and 10 here, but I think I'm going to say 7.5 and go. I'm going to shoot closer to 8 and 9.
The Dolphins over-under is 8.5. And I just want to walk you through what the Dolphins are currently dealing with.
Okay.
They have a second-year player at left tackle who had played previously, I believe, 5 games, started a handful in Patrick Paul. They have a rookie left guard, a returning center, a new right guard, and Austin Jackson as their right tackle, who I personally think is terrible.
And you, Michael, you're filling in at left guard for them.
Yeah, honestly, with what they've been putting out lately, I may be able to get a few snaps and do a better job than they have. I actually understand how to block someone, so it doesn't appear they do. The Dolphins have the worst secondary in all of football. Their corners, they lost their best corner, who would probably be a nickel or a third cornerback on most teams. They traded Jalen Ramsey in one of the oddest trades I've ever seen for Minka Fitzpatrick, returning to the Dolphins after a few years. This Dolphins team has everybody fired written all over it. I am at an under, and I'm locked in. I've already bet they're under.
Bro?
The Dolphins are an anomaly to me. It's like,
Well, you see, it's almost a fish, but it's a mammal.
yeah, right? And then they fight sharks too,
This is true.
just for fun. But, like, they lose terrible games, and then they turn around, and, obviously this would have been a few years back, and beat Tom Brady and the Patriots. It's like, what? How? If you can do that, then why can't you beat the Raiders? What?
Yeah,
I don't understand. Yeah. So I think the ceiling is high. They have the talent to be over, but I just haven't seen it like in action, like all of it click for enough games for me to be able to confidently say over. So I'm going under with this team.
I'm with you there. I think all three of us agree here. The talent on paper on offense, right? You've seen when everything works, especially with A-Chain that came in. I mean, or A-Chan, whatever, who came in. There is potential on this team on paper to score 30 points a game. But Michael, to your point, if their defense can't stop anybody, they're never going to get back on the field. So, yeah, I'm fine with going under. Works for me. All right. Here we go.
I'll
Earl, you want to handle
respectfully.
this one?
I was gonna say I'll respectfully
No,
not do you like I
start.
did the Cowboys, but I'm gonna give it just a little more time. Hold on, pause. I think it's an under.
I appreciate
Respectfully, just a little bit
Second.
more time than the Cowboys, but this,
Obviously,
I'll let
these
you
bullet points
get
are
into
off
the
too.
details. For me, it's unfortunately it's an under.
Michael,
Nick, are you sitting down?
unfortunately, I already am.
We haven't even mentioned the over under
You
either.
haven't
I
told
guess
us what the
Weitzner's
number is
about to.
yet.
Yeah.
I don't believe we've actually said what the team is either.
No.
It's fine. I mean, we can just fast
So-
forward.
Let's do it a little reset. We're on the Jets. Nick, do you want to guess what your Jets over under is?
I don't want to guess because I am too biased here. I'm too close.
It's not the lowest in the AFC.
Oh, great. I'm gonna say
Hang
four.
the
I'm
banner.
gonna say 4.5.
It's actually 5.5.
It's a win.
And Nick, I'm taking the over.
Instantly to their schedules. Hold on.
Yeah, let's see. Let's check this out. We might have to go game by game on this one.
So before we get into the game by game, I just want to say not having Aaron Rodgers on your team is going to be a
Instant.
morale boost like
Instant
you've
plus.
never seen. Okay,
Plus 10 to charisma. Yeah.
like, and you made a joke earlier about me being a Justin Fields fan. I actually am. I'm not gonna lie to you. I like Justin Fields.
Honestly, looking at their schedule, there's a chance. If
So
it, one,
you have a
two,
dynamic running back, an improved offensive line, still have a ton of talent on defense, and you don't have a complete disaster at quarterback. All you got to do is win one more game with a new coach who could give you the new coach bounce. Coming from the Detroit Lions, who I don't know if you guys are aware, they're a pretty good team.
pretty good.
I'm familiar. Yeah.
So, listen, the Jets may get 6 wins this year, but 6 is greater than 5.5. So I'm at over.
Here's the problem. The problem is I was expecting a number that was higher than that. So you tell me 5.5, and like I said, we'll go into the schedule in a second. But you tell me 5.5. This is my lock for over, and I'm slipping down the slide again. I know that.
I appreciate it. No,
but
dignity. I love it.
But I gotta be honest. Yeah, I'm reading these articles every day coming out of camp, and it's like, well, maybe like the physical stuff is up and down, or the drills are some good, some bad, which everybody has. I totally get that. But everything that it keeps highlighting is the vibes are great because you don't have a crotchety old man bringing it down and making it about him. And I mean, we talked about it. I was one of the guys that were in favor of bringing Rodgers, and I thought it was a good move at the time because it seemed like there was a little bit of ambition with some young stars and a good defense to go and make the move. I get it. Didn't work. Fine. You cut your losses. I'm fine with it. I don't mind the Fields thing. We've never really had a running quarterback. What really gets me is even if Fields is let's go off the thing that you had. If Fields is the 22nd best quarterback this year, and I think he'll finish probably a little bit higher than that. Let's say he's league average, right? There is potential this is a playoff team. I'm like dead serious about that. There is a potential this team is maybe 9-8, and we sneak it as a wild card. Now, with that being said, of course, so many things have to go right, and if one thing goes wrong, it's over. But here's what we have. Opening night. Okay. It's Labor Day of 2023. I make my dinner. I sit down. I'm watching Sunday Night Football because it is Aaron Rodgers' first game as a Jet. I could not be more hyped. He runs out of that tunnel. He's got the American flag. Obviously, he goes down hurt. We still beat the Bills off of punt return to win it overtime. This game, hosted against the Steelers, is going to have all of that juice. And as much as I respect Tomlin, and I think he's a Hall of Fame fantastic coach. I think that I'm going to be hard pressed to find a team that's going to be more jazzed than the Jets in that first game. Not only to prove it, because all those guys that were in the locker room with him who want to say, "Hey, we got it right, you had it wrong," but also coach to coach. Aaron Glenn's first game. I mean, this is going to tell a lot. I'm honestly, I doubt the lines are out yet, but I'm curious to see what that's going to be because I would be. You'd have to really persuade me not to take the Jets in that first game. But that's how I'm feeling about the start. I mean, we'll go game by game, but
I took a quick glance. I'm still locking the under, and I'm not betting this, but I'll say there's a chance you guys go over.
Listen, I hear you, but everything you said is wrong.
Well, no. You make some valid points. I mean, looking at your schedule here, like there's a chance. I mean, you got the Bills twice, which is tough, but I think if you can get 6 wins and only beat the Patriots once. If the Patriots are bad and you beat them twice, you're looking at least 7. And then you steal a couple others, like you stole one against the Bills after Rodgers goes down, then yeah, you guys sneak in as a wild card.
So Nick, while Terrell was talking, I looked up. You can bet the Pittsburgh versus New York Jets.
What's the line?
The Jets at home are a 3-point dog
Take them.
against the Steelers.
I'm bet your mortgage on that.
Here is my favorite thing about this line.
Maybe not your mortgage. We're not financial advisors, but
ready. The lowest over/under for opening week is this Steelers Jets game. They think that there's going to be 0 scoring in this game. Projected game score, let me do the quick math, of 20-17.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see it being low scoring. I could see both defenses slogging that game up. But okay, this is the last point I'll make on this game. With a low scoring game like that, where both defenses are going to be stuck in a battle, I think I would give the advantage to the quarterback that can also use his legs, compared to the one that's going to crumple and fall over the second that the pocket collapses.
Nick, I would agree with you, but you're forgetting one very key thing. This is going to be the Aaron Rodgers revenge game as well. And if he's going to ramp it up for one game, it's definitely this one.
If his highlights for the 2025 season are any longer than the highlights he had with the Jets his opening season, you guys might be in trouble. That is a fair point.
Maybe it's the 4th play or the 5th play he goes down on this season. Just saying. No, I in my heart of hearts, I do think even if we have 5 wins, we hit the under, I think we beat the Steelers. That's my vote. But we'll go Steelers. They win that. Lose to the Bills, we're 1-1. Lose to the Bucks, 1-2. Let's say you lose to the Dolphins away, so you're 1-3. I think you beat the Cowboys at home. You're 2-3. Like I said, that tricky little European game against the Broncos, I'm gonna put a win there, just to see 3-3. I think you beat the Panthers at home. You're 4-3. You lose to the Bengals away. You're 4-4. You beat the Browns at home. You're 5-4. Let's say you lose the away New England game. You're 5-5. You definitely lose to the Ravens. You're 5-6. Falcons, you were high on them. I wasn't. I'm gonna say a win. 6-6. I think you beat the Dolphins at home. 7-6. Jags. I will be in attendance for that game, so I'm gonna count that one as a win. Saints, worst team in football. That's back-to-back wins, and then I think you beat the Patriots at home. I think that's 3 wins in a row there. 4 wins in a row. And then I think you lose to the Bills. I think that's an 8-win team.
I feel like we need to say this just for, legal purposes. This is like a crack addict trying to sell you on crack. Okay? We do not actually recommend believing in the Jets just as an organization of, for the record, sports.
As an organization? No, absolutely not.
It just needed to be said. There was too much Jets love.
But as a football team to win some games this year, there's a chance. That's all I'm saying. I'm okay. I'll leave it here. I think I'm higher on the Jets this year than I was the last 2 years. I think that's fair to say. And the last 2 years, I was higher on them than I had been the last 4 or 5. So, by that logic, this seems like the most complete, even if it's a very incomplete team. This is the most complete Jets team I've probably seen in close to a decade.
Nick, can you make a promise right now? If the Steelers beat the Jets, can we have a live reaction pod?
Yeah, I might. This was Sunday. Was it Sunday 1:00? I might have to buy a Sunday ticket just for that game. We'll have to record at 4:05. I don't know. Something about it. Something about Fields. I really like the draft that they had. I know that we talked a little bit about that, but something tells me they might be okay. At least over 5.5. Even if you're not high on my own supply, thinking they're going to make the playoffs, but I think they can. I think they can hit 6 wins pretty easily. But anything else you guys have on the New York Football Jets?
I was done about 10 minutes ago.
I had mine before we had the over under.
All right, so am I the only one going over?
No, I'm going over. Just
Okay, just under what I was saying. Okay, fair enough. All right, let's round out the Patriots. I think this is bonkers. From Bleacher Report, 9-8. What? Tell me what the number is.
the Patriots over under is 8.5. Same as the Dolphins.
There's no way. There's no way. No. You know what? I'll go last. You guys go first. I'm just gonna sit.
Terrell?
I have 8 games marked that are question marks for me. I don't know how good this team is. The 8 games I have are Raiders, Panthers, Saints, Titans, Falcons. It's Jets twice and Dolphins. Obviously, they play the Dolphins twice. One home, one away. Maybe they win the home one, but it's the last game of the season. So if they are like bad, they lose that too. Jets, we said they go 1-1. So I mean, maybe over. That puts them at 7 question marks for me. I think sure they beat the Panthers and the Saints, but I hate to say over, but I think logically it just makes sense based on their schedule.
So I think we may have a Falcon situation brewing right here. I think this is a clear over, and I think their potential playoff team with Mike Vrabel as their head coach. I don't think you guys are accounting for how much of a negative the coaching staff was last year. Where I think the Patriots are the candidate for the new coach bounce. And yeah, I like Drake May quite a bit. I think he's a very talented young quarterback who can develop into a very good starting quarterback. Mike Vrabel, even when it was falling apart in Tennessee, he was still winning 9, 10 games.
With Derrick Henry. With Derrick Henry.
With Derrick Henry, yeah.
That helps.
But also, Ryan Tannehill was the starting quarterback. And
yes, that's true.
Drake May right now is better than Ryan Tannehill was probably at the peak of his powers. So I just think Mike Vrabel is a stellar head coach who just doesn't put bad teams on the field. The offensive line is going to be improved. Their skill position is still a lot of question marks, but I think they're going to be a much heavier, ground and pound, churn people, play defense. Probably not going to be high scoring games with them, but the goal is not to score 50 points. The goal is to score more points than your opponent. So I think the Patriots are a potential playoff team. We'll talk about our playoff 7 later on, but yeah, I think this is definitely a Falcon situation.
I can see it. I mean, like I said, looking at their schedule, the games I have question marked are all teams, besides the Falcons and then Nick, your Jets, teams we think are going under or are, on the negative side this season. So they could end up as this 9-8 wild card.
All right. You want to talk high drone supply. Here's my problem. I understand what you're saying about Vrabel with the bounce back. I like Drake May. Still, to me, he's still a project. I don't think that Drake May is finished by any means. I do think that he's going to have a great career, fine. I don't think that he's ready year 2 to take a team that won 4 games last year. New head coach, new weapons, if you can call them that at the moment, and a lot of question marks. I think to me, sure, you pick up win against the Jets, pick up win against the Dolphins. It's 2 in division, so you're going 2-4. You can potentially scratch together some wins in there. I think this is going to be more of a bumpy path, trying to figure out things, especially the first couple games. I don't think that this is a team that goes on a run to end up making the playoffs. This feels like a team that's going to make young mistakes, figure things out, with potentially setting up what their next 3 to 5 years looks like, to me. So I gotta go under. I thought the number was gonna be lower than that. So that was surprising to me. It's not just bias. Anything else you guys got in the Pats?
No, we're good. We'll be talking about the Pats again later.
Cool. Great. I love that. All right, on to the AFC South. Michael, I know you talked about it before, but this is really the rebuild division. There is no team in here that is set. Every team feels like they're just constantly having to tweak and tinker because they're not a finished product. But what's the number for the Texans?
So the Texans, their over/under is 9.5. They're also technically the favorite for the division. But remember with the Chiefs, they were minus 115. The Bills were a minus 300. If you bet Houston to win the division, you are getting plus 100 odds. They are not even a minus favorite. That's how open this division is. Or the better way of saying it is that's how poor the teams overall, all 4 in this division are.
So before I hand it off to you, the only detail I want to give you, starting November 16th, this is their last 8 games of the schedule. Away at the Titans, home for the Bills, away at the Colts, away at the Chiefs. Get the tough ones out of the way. Then you're home for the Cardinals, home for the Raiders, at the Chargers, home for the Colts. To me, I think that's the most important stretch of their season, even with the tough games that are sprinkled in there. But I'm curious for your thoughts.
I wasn't a Stroud believer in college. I am a Stroud believer now. I don't think they beat the Chiefs on that run. Home versus the Bills. I also don't think they win, but it's going to be a close game, so last possession could go either way. That Colts, Cardinals, Raiders, Chargers, Colts, I think they win those. I think this is a playoff team. I got the over. I got them winning the division again this year. Those are my thoughts.
Michael, over?
I have them over as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, for a division winner last year, they were probably tied with the Bucks for the quote unquote worst division winner. We're gonna talk about the teams in this division, but like not a lot of wins collectively for this division.
No.
You know, some sports books offer a total wins from a division, and
Under. Yeah.
yeah, I think this one's a sweet under just overall. The Texans are the best team in this division, and I think by a very wide margin. Because then I'm taking them again to win the division and to go over.
I know we've talked about most confusing teams and most like wishy-washy, not sure where to go with them. This is another one that falls into that category for me. Before we hit record, I could not believe that the Jags only won 4 games last year. because not because of I understand like they have a history of incompetence. I get that, but you think about the players on that team. That does not say 4 wins to me. You could say 6, 7. Sure, I would have believed it, but I think that's so uncharacteristically low that there has to be some sort of bounce back here. You add the new coach. I would imagine this is a. Actually, I'll tell a story. I was talking to a huge Shags fan over the weekend, and they asked me point blank. They said, "Hey, is this the make or break season for Trevor Lawrence? Like, if he doesn't perform, is he out the door?" And the answer might be yes. It might be a hey, handshake. Hey, we tried it for 5 years. It didn't work. We're going to ship you off for a second or a third, and they're going to try again. But this could be the year.
So, Nick, I'll do you one better. First, let me tell you the over-under. The Jaguars have a 7.5 over-under.
Okay.
With the Trevor Lawrence conversation, I'm a believer in, especially for quarterbacks, where if you haven't shown it in your first 2, 3, 4 years, it's just never happening.
Mm-hmm.
There are some late bloomers. You know, Sam Darnold had a good year. Geno Smith had a good year. Maybe it's just the Jets that are the problem.
Yeah, maybe.
But, Trevor Lawrence, he's honestly, he's in the same spectrum of Justin Herbert, where he looks the part. He looks like he should be a good quarterback. He has a great arm. He's tall. He looks durable. He can run it. But for whatever reason, just can't operate an offense in a functioning way. I just don't get it. Even last year with a rookie wide receiver who busted out in Brian Thomas Jr., awesome player. He just couldn't get it done. I just don't understand it. You know, the over under 7.5. I'm taking this over because I think this is an 8-win team that's not making the playoffs, and I'm not sure if 8 wins means Trevor Lawrence is out of here, but I think the writing's on the wall already.
Well,
I think this is over. I think barely. I also think it is an 8-win team. Travis Hunter this year, is it the difference maker? I don't know. Is it enough to get him 8? Possibly. Um, I, again, if they get 8, I think they hold on to Trevor Lawrence for a little bit and think maybe, okay, we got Travis Hunter his rookie year we got that out of the way. And so maybe, the following year they get 9, 10, but I'm going to say over the 7.5. I don't have high expectations for this team. I don't think they make the playoffs. I do think they win a couple decent games.
I I think I feel like I got to go over here. Uh, Not that it particularly feels good, but the fact that their number you said was what 7.5. I feel like I got to give the benefit of the doubt here. I think Travis Hunter's a great pickup. It sounds like he's going to play a little bit more offense than defense. Um, Brian Thomas Jr. is a stud. They have a decent running back room. You get the new coach. If we're talking about the Pats with the new coach bounce, I have to assume Liam Cohen's going to give the same thing to Jacksonville. 10 wins feels lofty. 8 and 9 feels achievable. I'm going to go over. All right, into the pits here. I'm gonna say 4.5. No. That's low. I'm gonna say 5.5.
So, for anyone who is listening instead of watching, we're on the Indianapolis Colts. Their over under is 7.5. Nick already bet it It's a lock. It's an
It's
under.
an under. It's an under for me.
Anthony Richardson is already hurt. It's freaking preseason, and he's already hurt. He's another guy. Again, another guy looks great, can run the ball, huge arm. Why can't you operate a normal offense? I just don't get it. Yeah, Terrell, I'll throw it to you. What do you think about this team?
I think this is an under. I think he was great in college, as much as that pains me to say, him coming out of Florida. But I think it's one of those situations where you were playing against the best out of the best out of high school. Now you're playing against the best of the best, and it just doesn't translate as well. Um, could be possibly the same situation with Trevor Lawrence. Like he was the best of the best out of high school and showed in
Even
college.
in
It just
college, too,
hasn't
yeah.
translated to the NFL yet, or possibly ever. Who knows? We'll see. I think this is the same situation. I think this is an under for this team, though.
Cool. Move on. Okay, fine. I'll put one more thing. The fact that you have the Jags and the Colts both at 7.5. We said this with Chargers Raiders or Chargers Broncos both at 9.5. This feels like two franchises that are going in different directions. Right? Yes, Colts had a better season last year than the Jags. I get that. I feel like the Jags are on the rise. Colts are on the decline. Colts thought they had it with Anthony Richardson, and I think he has the raw talent for it, like you had said. But there's other factors at play here. They're not it. I'm gonna say Titans 5.5 here.
Nick, you nailed it. Over under 5.5. They have the number one pick at quarterback coming in. And earlier I mentioned the Raiders upgrade at quarterback, going from the garbage they had last year to Geno Smith. We might be in a competition from the upgrade from Will Levis and Mason Rudolph to Cam Ward. And I'm not a huge Cam Ward believer, but Will Levis was on a generational run of meme creation after doing dumb thing. So it couldn't get worse.
I don't trust the Titans. I think I like Cam Ward. He feels like somebody that did the right thing in college. I don't hold anything against him for any of the transferring and trying to find a home and then doing really well in Miami. But this feels like a team that is only built around him, and there's nothing else there at the moment. Like this feels like maybe this is the Patriots of last year, right? Maybe this is, hey, we got our quarterback now, we're going to have to build around him. But right now they have a horse but no cart. So I'm going to go under. I see the Titans as one of those really poor teams this year, potentially maybe even tanking, just to get whatever that next high pick is going to be to try to build around him.
Real thoughts?
I like Cam Ward. I think it's his first year. I don't think he's going to improve them from a 3-win team to a 5.5 team. I got the under here.
So I don't feel great about mine, but I have a slight over. You just got to go 6-11 in a terrible division. You get 3 division wins, you're halfway there already. They're in a last place schedule as well. Am I going to bet that? Absolutely not. But I think it's possible, and I don't think they have another bottom out year where they're going 2 wins, 3 wins. I think this is a 4, 5, or 6 win team. I just think it's hard to lose that many games year every year if you're not the Browns.
Well, funny you say the Browns. That would have been super perfect there. But we'll get to their division. I agree with what you were saying. I do think that The Tennessee, maybe there's a chance for 6, but what I don't like is that you have belief in them hitting 6, but Terrell doesn't have belief in the Jets hitting 6. But hey, it's just me. All right, so on to Baltimore. So here's what I have. I have Lamar Jackson probably as a top 2 or top 3 MVP candidate. I have Derrick Henry probably as a top 5 running back as far as stats and touchdowns this year. You want to talk about revenge tour? They're going to be on the revenge tour to, I think, go AFC Championship game and attempt a Super Bowl run with the players that they have. I think if it's going to happen in the next year or two before some of these guys start to age out. Their defense is fantastic. Their front office is great with draft picks and trades. I think they're the team to beat. What's her number?
Ravens over-under is 11.5. They're also the favorite to win the division at minus 155. So they're a true favorite, minus money if you want to bet that. Still pretty good odds. This is a very good division. We'll talk about the rest of the teams later. I have them as an over. Nick, nail on the head. This is probably a revenge tour. Lamar Jackson had an argument for MVP last year. I think there's a good chance he may get it this year. And the Ravens are my team this year. They're the ones I'm following. That's my new team. This is how you build a freaking team. You know, the star quarterback. You go out, you spend big money to make a difference at running back. You try keep getting weapons. You build a good offensive line. You build an awesome back to front defense. There's not much I don't like about the Ravens.
And a new kicker. So.
Why? The last one was really good and definitely didn't have any big controversies, right?
Terrell, what were you saying? That was worthless. I was curious.
I think these guys win the division for sure. I have them as an over. I think there is a good chance they might get a bye in the playoffs too. So
no spoilers. We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. But that's my vote.
Okay. Let's roll on. Again, clear out ISO. Bengal boy, this is all you.
The North remembers being 4-8 and having to try to pick and claw and bleed just to come up short for a wild card spot. I don't think that happens this year. We kept our talent. If we can keep everybody healthy, I mean, you're talking about one of the most explosive offenses in the league. I have an over. Weitzner, I think I peaked earlier. It was 9.5.
9.5. That's
9.5. I have over. I said for the Ravens, I think they win in the division. I think these guys make it to the wild card. If everything is clicking and we actually start the season when everybody else starts the season in September, we'll be all right.
I will. You go.
I'm agreeing with Terrell. I think last year was such a weird year. The defense, quite frankly, could not be worse if they tried. If you have a normal, even a slightly below average defense, this Bengals team clears 9.5 by a game or two. And I haven't bet it yet, but I'm leaning towards betting them, and I definitely have them in playoff contention, if not a lock for the playoffs.
So the detail that sticks out to me, Terrell, you made the point, or the joke, I should say, of them actually starting when everybody else starts, but I saw that preseason game 1, Burrow goes out. I don't know if he played 2 or 3 drives, but the quote afterwards was that was a focus for them, is that they want to start game 1. They don't want to have to warm up and get the starters good and gelling. If that's the mentality that they have and they start executing those things, and that was really one of the primary issues last year, I'm okay with saying they're looking between 10 and 12 wins. I'm okay with that. I don't think they win the division, which I know we'll get to, but I think they come up just short, but I think they're probably the top wildcard team this year. Overs all around. All right. It hurts me. We talked about this. It hurts me to say this because I like Tomlin, and he has a knack of going over 500. I don't know how. Whatever his crazy streak is at this point, I feel like this is the year it gets broken. I feel like they're an under 500 team. This feels like what's the best way for me to describe it? This feels like the team that's in every other sport that you look to just add not just veterans but the old guys because you just want to put together one more run and see if maybe we can make something happen. Like getting DK before you have a quarterback felt a little weird, and then everyone's like, no, they'll figure it out, And then Rodgers pulled the same thing he pulled with the Jets, and he's like, I'm going to wait 3 months and then I'll make a decision. I don't. And the Steelers fans, at least they seem to be buying into him as the head of the team, and I understand that they really thought they had something with Fields, but you gotta feel like you're taking a step back, even from Russell Wilson, to what you have this year. So I don't even know what the number is. I'm tempted to say under already.
So Steelers over under is 8.5.
Done. There you go.
I think this is going to be a quick one for everyone. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers steps in. I don't know if it's in like a bear trap and dog shit. I don't know what he's stepping into.
Stepping into a week 1 loss is what he's stepping into.
So I have this as an under. I've already bet it. And Nick, you said, this feels like just signing a bunch of old guys who used to be big names. I got you one better. This is like in a horror movie where a killer is following behind a group of teenagers and they had just stopped at a gas station, and the gas station attendant's about to get murdered by the killer. That's the Steelers. The Steelers are the gas station attendant. This season's going to be a disaster for them.
And Terrell, I'm going to kick it to you in a second, but I have one more point that I was just thought about. This almost feels like a desperation play. This almost feels like rather than allowing this team to tank and then potentially pick up a high draft pick, build your team around a quarterback or another weapon, this feels like, no, look, we're trying. And it's like, look, we signed the 43-year-old quarterback. Look, we traded for DK. Like, we're trying to do these things. I am not a believer it's going to work. All right, what you got, Terrell?
I agree. This is a clear under for me. I don't think just pooling your money and getting kind of scrapbooking, stitching together all these stars is going to work. I mean, you're talking about an Aaron Rodgers guy who played with relatively the same core for a long period of time in Green Bay and then brought a few of those guys to the Jets and it didn't work. And now he's with a completely different crew. So it's going to require a lot of chemistry sort of setting that I just don't think they have time for. Under for me might be, I can't say might be worst team in the division because the Browns are in here. But yeah, this one's easy for me.
Speaking of the Cleveland Browns, I'm going to say 4.5.
Nailed it. Browns 4.5. I'm not sure how they got this number because maybe they were saying how many active quarterbacks are going to play for them this year. Yeah, 4.5 feels like a good number there.
Over for that? Question mark?
Well, they're already on their 4th string quarterback because everyone else has been sidelined in the preseason with injuries.
All that.
I talked about the Steelers year from hell. I mean, the Browns draft was totally mismanaged. They hit a slam dunk with a first round trade and got a bunch of picks next year, but then totally blew the rest of the draft. drafting Dylan Gabriel, a non-NFL quarterback who's probably never going to be anything other than a, a practice squad backup. Like,
kick holder.
Ooh.
We talked extensively in the post-draft pod about their failings and the whole Shador Sanders thing. Yeah, this team's not set up for success. Kevin's, oh my god, the head coach's name, his last name kills me every time. He's a good coach, but I just think there's a total mismanagement of a roster, and unfortunately, I have them going under, and quite possibly maybe the first overall pick.
Terrell, me and you talked about this specific example of the Browns early June or something with Eric about a GM's dream, because anybody at all who plays Madden enough could go in and actually fix the Cleveland Browns, and for whatever reason, they're not. They're just kicking the can down. Oh no, we'll do it next year. We'll do it next year. Michael, to your point, they made an awesome trade, picked up some picks for next year, but that does nothing to help them this year. So if this does turn into, hey, okay, well, like Tennessee, okay, we're just going to tank. We'll pick up another draft pick next year, and since we have all that capital next year, maybe we can actually build on that. Sure, I can buy into that. I mean, that's a fine strategy a lot of teams have used. But what that strategy means, you're definitely getting under 5 wins. So I'm going under.
4.5 is a low number. I'm also going under. And reason being, as I'm looking through all these team schedules, I'm like, oh, okay, Bengals, they play here, and here. And like every time I come to the Browns, I'm like, oh, that's a win. So it gets to the point where it's like, where do the Browns where do they not lose? Like, what games can they win? I don't know. And for that, let me, look at everybody else's. Let me look at theirs.
Yeah,
Bengals,
I don't
Ravens, Packers, Lions, Vikings, Steelers. You're opening up 0-6. Question marks on maybe Dolphins. Sorry, Nick, Jets.
Hold on.
This is at Jets too, so that's probably a loss.
If the Browns come in,
Terrell, be careful. If you say the J word one more time, Nick actually appears at your house.
yes. So be ready.
All right, we'll lay off the J word.
If the Jets lose that game to Cleveland, season's over. What's the date on that?
11-9.
Yeah, season's
first game in November.
I won't watch another game if we lose that.
You heard it here first. But it's an under for me. I don't know where this team picks up wins.
Well, let's get into the playoffs. Terrell, Michael, you gave yours first last time. Terrell, how about you go? Who are your division winners here?
I got East, the Bills, North, the Ravens, South, the Texans, and the West, I got the Chiefs. Okay. My wild cards, I got the Bengals coming in first. First wild card, and then the Broncos. Then I got the Jaguars.
Okay. Michael?
I have the same division winners: Bills, Ravens, Chiefs, Texans. I have the first wild card as the Broncos, second wild card as the Bengals, and the third wild card I have as the Patriots.
I'm sorry, you said Bengals?
So it'll
Broncos, Patriots.
Yeah.
Okay, wrong, but I appreciate your opinion.
Jets division winner?
No. Unless you want to make $1 million. No, I probably have to go with you guys with the division winners. I think the only one that's close. I'm tempted. I'm tempted for the Chiefs not to win their division, but until they don't actually do it, I got to stick with what you guys have. So I'm going Bills, Ravens, Chiefs, Texans. Wild card? I don't know. I do think Bengals are going to be the top seed here. I'm okay with putting the Broncos. I think. Yeah, I'm okay with putting the Broncos. I think I'm going to put the third team from the West. I think I'm going to put the Chargers. I know you guys have them as unders, but I could see them going 9-8 or 10-7 and getting in. So I'm okay with those three teams there. All right, let's go. Terrell, conference championship.
I'm gonna sprinkle a little faith here. I'm gonna go Bengals. Might go against what order I have the people in. I'm gonna go Bengals Ravens.
And who is your Super Bowl representative from the AFC? Yeah,
Bengals,
I could
baby.
have told you that.
Bengals.
Well, then here, I just want to get yours out of the way. Then you had Bengals, Eagles as your Super Bowl. Are you riding?
I'm riding. This is gonna be Joe Burrow's second trip.
Okay,
It's gonna be Burrow's second trip.
I can respect that. Michael, conference championship.
I'm of two minds about this, where I'm like, just you have to put the Chiefs in the conference championship, like legally. I'm pretty sure you violate some federal law if they're not in the conference championship.
Bet fails, yeah.
So I really think this is a 3-team conference: Bills, Ravens, Chiefs. Any three of those could reasonably be in the conference final. This year, I do think the Bills and the Chiefs make it. You could flip the Ravens with the Bills. You can flip the Ravens with the Chiefs. I am saying the Bills because right before we hopped on this pod, I watched a feature film called Sinners. Have you guys seen it?
I've heard of it.
Are you aware who is one of the co-stars in the movie?
Haley Steinfeld.
Of course, you would know.
Are you aware of the scene?
No.
So there's a
Many scenes. There were many scenes.
there's a very, very graphic sex scene between Haley Steinfeld, Josh Allen's wife, and Michael B. Jordan.
Okay, where are you going with this?
And I don't know if you've seen Michael B. Jordan, but he is gorgeous.
Sure,
And
Your Honor, relevant.
I think Josh Allen may be on some sort of nuclear path of just he literally has to see his wife go down on Michael B. Jordan. And this movie's probably an Oscar contender, so it's not like it's gonna be going away. There's gonna be clips of this movie constantly. And I think it's just gonna be the rage that fuels Josh Allen into the conference finals.
Okay. Now, Chiefs Bills, who's your winner?
Again, I'm going to pick the Chiefs until the Chiefs do not make it.
That's fair. All right. Well, then you had the Packers. So Chiefs Packers Super Bowl.
I'm going to call it Chiefs.
Boo! No, it's fair. I get it. I think I'm with you on having to almost legally having to pick the Chiefs until they don't do it, because the day that it doesn't happen, I feel like once that window's done for them, they're not getting back. I don't feel like they've done a good enough job of setting up what that team looks like after some of those guys age out. They're certainly trying and trying to get younger in different positions, but I think they're still in their championship window. I've got the Chiefs making it to the AFC Championship game. I have them making it against the Ravens. I understand your Josh Allen revenge tour. I think Lamar's an MVP. I think this is they're going to show a different side this year. I think that Derrick Henry has another year under his belt there. I think this is going to be a team that's probably going to win 14 games. I think I have the Ravens coming out of the AFC. It doesn't feel good, but I've got Ravens Lions.
That'd be a fun Super Bowl.
That'd be
Probably
so much fun.
The most fun matchup out of all of us that we've said so far.
Yeah.
That means it's definitely not going to happen. But that's fine. I think if it comes to this, two teams that have been itching to get there and two teams that have been sitting on the precipice of their respective conferences to at least get into this game, to me it's a coin flip just because neither of these teams have been there. However, if I had to pick, the Ravens have been knocking on the door longer than the Lions. So to me, Lions having to reload on coaches and most of their staff. I think that the Ravens probably win a lot of those like individual battles, better QB, better running back. I think the Lions have better receivers, but I'm probably going Baltimore, I think. And that would be fun. That would be, like, to your point, that would be so much fun. But yeah, I think that's what I've got. So that's it. There's our two conferences. We are how many days away now? We wrapped up preseason week 1. Preseason week 2, I think, starts tomorrow, Thursday night, 15th or 14th. And then we had a little
Friday
countdown going
15th.
last week. Yeah. Oh, Friday. Okay. But that's what we have. So I've got these in perpetuity. So we'll hold on to these, and then after the Jets beat the Steelers, again, my apologies. We'll see. But that's it. Anything else you guys want to add?
Sir.
Nothing else. Watch Sinners. It's a good movie.
Oh yeah, we'll have to make some time. But yeah, that's it. That does it for us. The football season's around the corner. See you guys next time.
See ya.
Later.